This is Frederick Watts.
This is Jean Watts.
And
this is Love in 60 Seconds.
We have been married for over 20 years.
And in that time, we have learned a few things that we'd like to share with you.
So if you're single, newlyweds, or seasoned in marriage, we think you will enjoy the upcoming program.
Absolutely. And we want you to like, engage, share, and do all of those wonderful things that we do on Instagram, Facebook, and every other social media outlets. Send us DMs. We want to hear from you.
This is
Love
in 60 Seconds.
60 seconds of loving 60.
Hey everybody, this is Frederick and Jean Watts. It's the Love in 60 Seconds
Hello,
tonight.
everyone.
Today is May 4th,
Yes.
2020. So we hope that you're doing well. Hope all is well with you and your family and your household. We're waiting for everybody to join us live tonight, and we're going to go ahead and start. We're starting some new things, new formats coming at you, so hopefully everything will go well. It's our first time using our new format, and we just want to hear from you. Continue to hit those like buttons, interact with us tonight, let us know that you're enjoying what you're hearing.
Absolutely. We're just so grateful that we are able to come to you tonight, and we want to get into some topics that people have DM'd us with regard to their emergence from quarantine. A lot of people in a lot of places are kind of opening up community. Even my profession, we're opening up towards the end of this week. I'm excited about it, but I'm also very cautious. But a lot of people are emerging from quarantine, but some people have found out some things in quarantine with their spouse that has been kind of daunting, kind of upsetting, kind of revealing. So we want to talk about a few of those things and how to handle those things and how to leave any negativity from quarantine in that place and move forward in positive and going forth in a positive way.
So maybe what are some of the things that you have found out about your spouse that might have been maybe not have been brought to the forefront before you got into the quarantine?
Oh, I mean, that can be good things.
Yep,
You can be
good
like, I
things.
found out my spouse, even though we've had busy lives, is a really good cook. I found out that my husband can really make some great eggs. I always knew that he could make eggs, but egg whites, oh my gosh, he is like a master egg white omelet maker. So I found out some good things about him in quarantine.
Yeah, I found out my wife doesn't know how to turn her notifications off in her phone, like we discussed before. No,
It's okay. It's all right.
I actually found out that I got to enjoy spending even more time with you.
You're so
the
nice.
personality traits that I've always enjoyed. You brought it. Just spending time together is something that I've enjoyed, and then hopefully with you and your spouses and those in relationships that are married, that you've had some things that are positive.
Yeah.
And you probably have some things that are negatives too. So let's talk tonight about addressing those issues, how to deal with them, and things like that. So tonight's topic is, I found out some things that I do or do not like about my spouse during the quarantine, and what should I do?
Right. So obviously the things that you do like about your spouse, that's going to be a short topic, a short portion of this. The things that you do like about your spouse, you found some wonderful treasures and you found some wonderful moments and things that have been that have blessed you and blessed your relationship. You definitely want to make sure that you let your spouse know that, saying, hey, like we just talked about, him making the omelets and just being present, and he's saying the things that he's liked about me, that he's continue to like about me. I guess no new treasures.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Like every time that we had a good day, a nice day to get out and walk with you.
Yeah.
Enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And exercising. We've been working out together, and we've always sort of done that.
Yeah, but more. And more motivating each other.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of things, and like my wife said, you always just want to make sure that you continue the compliment and always take time, even today, tell your spouse how much you appreciate them and the good things that they have done.
Yeah, appreciation goes far. Appreciation is big. But we want to talk, we had a few people that kind of contacted us and said, hey, this is something that might be a good topic, and that they have found out that some things that they didn't like about their spouse. The first topic that we want to deal with, and the first thing that they said, I think my spouse is lazy. I think my spouse is lazy. I found out during this quarantine that this person don't want to do nothing. So I don't know if anybody is, thinking about that or kind of observed that, but we want to make sure first I don't know if you want to kind of hit some, have a little bit on that, but
Well, I mean, there should be, hopefully, that you understand maybe there's a difference between lazy and then maybe some other characteristics that could be maybe unmotivated or maybe dealing with
Anxiety.
just anxiety
Yeah.
or
depression.
stress,
Yeah,
depression,
yeah.
all those things. So, there could be reasons that your spouse could be experiencing those things. And what we always talk about as a basis and a platform and a foundation for a good relationship is communication.
Absolutely.
So, definitely communicate with your spouse and, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, and making sure that it's not any of those other things, because this is a very trying time for a lot of people. Make sure that their lack of doing things is not depression, that it's not anxiety, that it's not fear. So making sure that, again, like you said, that you're having that dialogue, especially if it's not personality traits that are common to your spouse. You know what I'm saying? And now it could be just like this person just laying on the couch watching TV all the time and won't do anything, but they kind of was like that before. So, and it's just like, oh, they have always been doing that. Just now he has more time to do it all the time. Or that person never was really like that, and now this is changing about them. So you definitely want to make sure that you're engaging and you're having conversation to make sure. But
So that would be the number one, to conversate or reason with your spouse. And make sure that you have an open conversation if you feel like your spouse is being lazy, and try your best to get to the source of it.
so we have a little video that we want to kind of share with you about laziness, and I want you to take a look at that, and then we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about some other ways to kind of handle laziness.
House looks great, babe. Apparently you missed a spot.
Can you get in the shower so we can go?
Booyah. Shower. Yeah, volume on that? Trying to watch TV. Tombstone. Yeah, buddy. Tombstone!
I'm your huckleberry.
That's a different color. Andre Drummond for the free throw. Hey babe, there's a good movie on. Throw some popcorn in. Did you bring me popcorn?
Sorry, I left it in the kitchen. Are you serious?
What?
Okay, well, that was just our attempt at a little bit of humor there.
Yeah.
But hopefully that you maybe had taken away some points from that. And we talked about communications, and then also sometimes if you think that your spouse is being lazy, or maybe if they're being unmotivated, definitely try to make them your hero. Build them up. Talk to them, especially if their love language is words of affirmation.
Absolutely.
Definitely build them up, make them your hero.
Absolutely. So if they do something, praise that something that they do. It's just positive reinforcement. People do it with children all the time. You know what I'm saying? And if he's being he or she is being lazy, they may need a little bit of that. So make sure you do that positive reinforcement. I think also, again, that goes along with this depreciation, making sure that you appreciate everything that they do. One thing you want to do, avoid threatening that person. Like, if you don't do this, then I'm gonna do this, or if you don't make this happen, then I'm gonna act like this. Don't do that. That is never ever productive. Threatening a person, especially an adult, with behavior. It just doesn't work. I don't know. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. That's a definitely number up there, just to make sure that you're always being kind, courteous, and non-threatening. And then that leads into the last topic, or one other advice is probably to always bond. If they're going through something, or if they're experiencing something, all the stress that comes along with being in quarantine, from the children, from job situations, whatever it is, make sure you're bonding. And this is for families, not just relationships. Make sure that you're taking time to bond with your spouse, making sure that you're taking time to bond with your children. After you've homeschooled them or whatever, take time to do something enjoyable with them, especially in this stressful time of quarantine. If you have teenagers, I know it's a little harder. They might want to sit up in the house all day and never talk or whatever. But, even as a parent, if they, want to close the door, just stick your head in the door and make sure you say, hey, I'm here for you. I love you.
Absolutely.
This is my house, so you're going to listen.
That's right. You're not going to open this door or remove it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But making sure that you are bonding. And so those are definitely ways that we can help deal with the situation if you think your spouse
is lazy.
being lazy.
Yeah, those are light ways, obviously. But making sure that you're having that conversation and you're doing it in a non-threatening way is going to definitely be helpful. The next topic that someone sent to us says, I think that my spouse is like exercising some shady behavior. Shady behavior could be a lot of different things. It could be you think that your spouse is, talking to somebody that they shouldn't be talking to. They are watching something that they should not be watching. They are, placing bets or doing whatever it is that they're doing. Anything that they're not, sharing openly with you is shady. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it could be counted as a shady behavior. Unless they're planning your birthday party, there should be no secrets.
Right.
That should not be the secret. So, what do you do if you think, or what do you think are some things that people can do if they think their spouse is kind of being shady?
Well, one thing that we always talk about, and I think some of our principles have started coming out, is when we talk about building fences. Some fences are to keep things in. And the best way to address a situation that, especially in marriage, is to communicate it. Address it head on. Now, usually that is the best solution, but we usually mess up at how we do
confront.
that. And that's because we do it in a confrontational way, because we're being emotional. And so a lot of times, if you feel like your spouse is having some issues or whatever, the best way to do it is to deal with it head on by saying, hey, we need to address this. The way we're spending, maybe a relationship. Mostly, it's not all. Most people in love and do the right thing, but have issues with spending or
Amazon every day.
Amazon, right? Like there was a day that I was like, I need some retail therapy. And so, but if I'm like, hey, well, honey, I might want to buy this thing. Is this okay? How we doing financially? Yeah. It's usually better than just me buying a whole bunch of stuff and then she's like, okay, well, I didn't plan for that, or a surprise. Just having a great conversation before you move and do certain things.
Absolutely. You want to, if you think that there's shady behavior, again, like you said, make sure that you have a conversation about it. Hey, honey, what's going on during this time of the night? Now, if somebody is being shady, I'm just going to let you know, they're going to lie to you, because shadiness comes along with a lying spirit. They just gonna lie initially, but you got to keep kind of having that conversation and then saying, hey, if there's nothing really going on, then for my own peace of mind, for my own thought process, let me be a part of this, or let me take a look at this, or let me do this. And then, you know what I'm saying? Let me look at your phone, or let me look at your Facebook, or let me, or, you don't want to necessarily have to be a super sleuth, but I'm telling you, a woman's intuition is better than a man's facts on any day. So if your intuition is saying something, you might want to have a conversation about that. It's a hard thing to do, but sometimes once you find out and you have a conversation, or if you're the person that's being shady, once you come forth, couples can be very resilient, and you can really get over anything if you nip it in the bud right in that moment.
And that's usually when you have a confrontation or a question. Like you said, most people tend to deny, and it's not always because they want to be shady. It's because they've been embarrassed, or they've been confronted, or whatever. And so you have to definitely work through that. But you also have to be willing that if you are the person that is being shady, you have to have the opportunity and the mindset that you want to change, that you want to have a clean heart and a right spirit. Because if you don't have that mindset, then the confrontation or the addressing the issue is not going to work.
Right.
Because the person is not ready to change. And that's when we bring in the spiritual aspect, is where you have to, even in this time, continue to pray, to continue to seek God, to continue to ask God to change the heart of your spouse. And I wanted to add one other thing to that, is that if you're dealing in situations where that you are dealing with issues that you're keeping secrets or whatever, another fence is to have an accountability partner. We talked about that with some couples a few days ago. And, having somebody that is not only like-minded, but has your best interest, your marriage, and as really what we believe have Christian values, and be able to be open and honest with them. Because that way, if you're struggling, hey man, I'm struggling with gambling. I want to go to a casino. And I could be like, or your friend or your accountability partner be like, well, if you do that, you can't pay your bills. You do that, you're going to bring hardship on your family. Not here to judge you, but let's look at the options. And if you have somebody to be accountable to, then that's another fence that'll keep you inside boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes for male and female. I had a conversation on just yesterday with a female who, was talking to somebody that wasn't her husband on the phone, like off to the side quietly. And I'm like, hey, sis, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? What's going on with that? And then ended up calling me, talking to me later about it. And I talked to her and shared this, like, if your husband doesn't know about this conversation, your husband doesn't know about this person, then you need to not be talking to that person, point blank, period. Well, they just my friend, blah, blah, blah. I just know him, from back in the neighborhood or whatever, and I worked for him. Do not care. Do not care.
And even though it's not really wrong, but it is just, that's another barrier, that if you don't incorporate that good wisdom, then it could lead to something else.
Absolutely, because it's shady behavior. Because if you got to step off to the side, you got to be somewhere private to talk to this person, that's starting something before it starts. That is, so if it's starting something before it starts, and it may be completely innocent in this moment, the next moment will not be.
And that's why it's good to have an accountability partner. That's why it's have somebody else to be like, hey, look, if this behavior continues, it could lead to something that you don't want.
Right, and you want to stop that. So again, if shady behavior, you want to definitely I don't want to say confront, but you want to talk about it. You want to share, tell that person how those particular actions are making you feel, that they are making you feel insecure, and you want to make sure that you have solid security going forth in your relationship coming out of this quarantine. You want to make sure that you have all of that. So doing that, we're good.
Security.
You said what?
That was a tongue twister.
Solid security. I need solid security. We need solid security. Right, exactly. Solid security. So making sure that you have that, and that you're sharing that's something that is really, really important to you. Okay. The final thing that we want to talk about is you find out that your spouse is confrontational about everything. And they just don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to talk to the kids. They don't know how to talk to you. They don't know how to talk to your mama, your daddy, your sister. They don't know how to talk to people. You're finding that, and then and they may have always been like that, but in this quarantine, you found out that it is really more
profound.
Yes. So we're gonna go to a video and show you a clip about being confrontational or the way people talk.
Things that I want to say to everybody watching today. There's something about being married that you can read all the marriage books in the Library of Congress, and there's something about marriage that when you actually get there, the books don't have the answer. No. So you're going to need the Holy Ghost to kind of help you to do what needs to be done. One of the things that I learned was you can get to this place where you say where it's her fault, she don't love me, or it's his fault, he don't love me. And what I've understood is that how Taffy treats me, first of all, it's none of my business. My business is how I treat her.
That is our business.
And that's my business. And if I'll treat her with unconditional love, then I don't need to be concerned about how she's treated me, and she'll do me the same way. Then we're gonna reach somewhere.
Absolutely.
So it's important that we understand how to deal with the emotions, because when you are emotionally ruled, then your emotions will take you away from the will of God for your life, and you do things out of your emotions. Hurt people hurt people. Hurt people never make good decisions. Hurt people always make bad decisions. They're hurt. They wear everything on their sleeves. And so when you talk about confrontation, you remember when we were first married and you cooked something, and I needed to learn how to talk.
That's true.
My
So straight.
Yeah.
And it had to be kind of doled out some because I just wasn't used to his straightness. It would hurt my feelings so bad.
That's a whole lot of our book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the confronter, she was the powder.
Yeah.
So she disappears. It's hard to confront somebody that disappears.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to confront as a compassionate confronter.
Right.
I was an abrasive confronter. Is that what you're about
Yes,
to
sir.
say?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
She cooked something, and I said, "What is this?"
I called it mess.
I called it mess. What is this mess? and it just, and I said, uh-oh, I don't think that came out right. And one of the things that I talked about, the approach, how you approach something, and I had an opportunity to grow from that.
So even in that video that we just saw, we saw that, you know, people that we are like, oh man, they never would have any issues.
Right.
Everybody has issues. That was a Cleflo Dollar, and you know, he's a mega church pastor, and he was even saying that, you know, he has relationship
Yeah,
issues.
Creflo and Taffy have been married a very long time, and also I forget the name of the other couple, but anyways, they have also been married for a very long time, and have been you know, have a television show, and they've written books on marriage, and but they admitted that they have issues.
It just goes to show that everybody deals with something.
Everyone.
So don't feel like you're the only one, and you're
Yeah.
not, because everybody goes through it.
Yeah.
You know, but the way that you survive together is making sure that you address the issues, and that you do it in a loving way.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. So if you're the confrontational person, if you're the person that barks, or, you know, always got to say something, you know, first of all, making sure that you being confrontational is not always a bad thing. It's labeled as a bad thing, but it's really not. Being confrontational is saying what you mean. You know, mean what you say, and that's okay. But there's a way to say everything. You want to confront with compassion. You want to confront with compassion. You want to say what it is. If you were like, this food is nasty, you want to say, oh, well, you know what, this is better than like some of the other times, and we're going to keep working on it, and I know that there's a delicious meal in you, and it's going to be so good. Right. You know, so whatever it is, you can be kind.
Let me show you how to cook the pizza without burning it.
Right.
And we'll do it together, make it a date night. But I appreciate what you did for us. You know,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of ways to address issues, but if you keep being confrontational, you know, you're going to make it for a household that's going to be unbearable to live in, especially in this time. And then if you've had experiences in the quarantine area as you come out and you don't address these issues, you're going to be looking at your spouse sideways.
Absolutely.
Because your feelings are going to be hurt, or you're going to feel unappreciated, untrusted, and
Yeah.
maybe even unloved.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you definitely want to make sure that you are confronting with kindness, that you are making sure that you're sharing your feelings in the right way. Now, if you're not if you're the person that has a confrontational spouse and they're always saying things to you, take the moment when they're not being confrontational, and then at that particular time share how those confrontational moments make you feel. Like so for example, when you do this makes me feel this way. You know what I mean? When you say that makes me feel like this, and I know you love me, but that makes me feel unloved. It makes me feel like I'm not, you know, so, you know, and they might blow it off in the beginning, but if you continue to just kind of share that in a calm way, in a non-confrontational time, then it will eventually get through to them as you pray and continue to talk to them.
Definitely. Yep. So hopefully we're giving you a few nuggets that'll help you guys get through this last part that we pray and believe that is happening as far as coming out of quarantine.
Yeah.
And, and definitely, we are praying for each and every one of you. We believe in God that your marriage is going to be healthy and strong.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to come out of quarantine with all the good things, with more closeness, more trust, more unity. If you possibly can have more unity, have even that much more unity, more oneness, and leave all of the bad stuff that has happened, leave it in the past and move forward to the future.
Amen. So like we said, we're coming to you with a new format. We try to put in some videos today. Hope that you have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But we're about to start a new series. My wife will talk about it in a second, that actually is not just for married people, that is also for single people. But we're going to start doing some new things. So we just ask that you please tell everybody to like us and join us on Facebook. We are going to be doing this from our business page, What's Up Entertainment. So if you see our advertisement on my personal page, on Gene's personal page, on Instagram, we're not doing Instagram Live anymore. We're going to be doing it here on Facebook Live. So join us at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Monday. Hopefully you've enjoyed the polls, the pictures, the questions, and the little videos. Yeah. So like us on Facebook, Instagram, and we're going to be doing things live here on Facebook now. And what's next week's topic?
Next week's topic, we're going to talk more about singles, and we're going to be talking about, there's a book out that's called Saved, Single, and Having Sex. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about just some relationship things that have been happening. And we also have a couple of clips that we're going to show you about, why aren't men in the church stepping to women in the church like they used to. Yeah. So we're going to see. We're going to talk about it, and we invite our married couples to come back and chime in for sure. That'll be very helpful to the singles, but also let the singles know that we'll be talking to them on next week.
That's right. It's going to be a fun series. So please share this, like it, heart it, and we'll see you guys next week. This is Frederick and Gene Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds.
Bye, everyone.
Well, guys, we have to wrap it up this evening. We really hope that you've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, this conversation has been amazing, and we want you to tune in again next time so that we can discuss more of these amazing topics and these topics of interest. Then don't forget to DM us, contact us, reach out to us, and we will definitely respond back.
If this has been Love in 60 Seconds, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, good night, everybody.
60